Mahabharat, Chapter 27, Part 1. Draupadi sends Bhima to fetch the unique lotus flower. The Pandavas remained in Badrika ashram for 6 days and nights. On the 7th day, a wind blew up from the northeast, carrying a single celestial lotus. The flower fell at Draupadi's feet. The princess looked in wonder at the golden 1,000-petaled lotus flower. Its fragrance delighted her mind, and she was charmed by its beauty. She had never seen anything like it. She thus showed it to her husband, Bhima. "Just behold this flower, O mighty armed one. Have you ever seen anything so wonderful? It gladdens my heart, and I desire to give it to Yudhishthir. Please discover where it came from and bring others, so that we may take them back to our hermitage in Kamyaka forest." Draupadi looked at Bhima with her dark eyes, which were covered with long curling lashes. Feeling her gaze upon him, Bhima felt commanded. He was overjoyed. He was happy at the opportunity to do something for her pleasure. She had suffered so much over the past years. That gentle princess was not suited to forest life, and she still felt the agony of the insults she had suffered in Hastinapur. Now she suffered even more due to Arjuna's absence. He had always been her favorite among the Pandavas. Bhima replied, "It will be done, O blessed lady. You will see me return with an armful of these golden flowers." Bhima faced the wind and began to climb the mountain. He traveled swiftly, resembling a furious elephant crashing through the forest. All creatures fled away in fear as he raced ahead, thinking only of Draupadi. The region through which Bhima passed became increasingly beautiful. Not only were the trees in full bloom, but the rocks were black stone inlaid with gems. It seemed to Bhima as if the earth goddess herself had raised her arm, adorned with sparkling ornaments in the form of this mountain. Bhima felt a cool breeze fanning his body, and his energy was increasing. On all sides he saw numerous Gandharvas and Siddhas, sporting on the mountain slopes with their consorts. The beautiful celestial maidens turning their heads sideways to look at the Pandava as he rushed past. Bhima scoured the mountainside as he ran, looking everywhere for the lotus. But he did not find any such flower. He continued higher into the mountain, roaring with exultation at his own strength and power. Hearing the tremendous noise, animals at a distance became afraid. The mountain tigers left their dens and ran about. Some of them tried to attack Bhima, but he merely slapped them aside as he ran. He lifted elephants and tossed them at other elephants. Clearing his path, Bhima then came to a forest of plantain trees. With great force he entered it and broke some of the tall trees, hitting against them with his arms and thighs. He was still shouting, and his roars now mixed with the terrified cries of forest animals. The tumult he created carried for miles around. Suddenly, Bhima noticed aquatic birds rising into the air not far off. They were frightened by the noise. Realizing there must be water nearby, and that lotuses grow upon water, Bhima made his way toward the birds. Soon he saw a delightful lake. The Pandava went down to the water, which was indeed adorned by innumerable lotus flowers and lilies. He dived in and swam about just like a maddened elephant. Refreshed and enlivened, Bhima rose from the water and let out a terrible blast from his conch shell. Examining the lotuses, however, he realized they were not the same as the one Draupadi had desired. He set up upon the mountain again, following a path leading up from the lake. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mahabharat, Chapter 27, Part 2. Bhima meets Hanuman. Then Bhima heard a loud noise just ahead of him. The sound echoed all around the mountain and made Bhima's hair stand on end. He ran forward to see what could have made such a noise, and Bhima found a huge monkey lying across the path. He was lashing the ground with his long tail and making the earth tremble. The monkey was effulgent and resembled a blazing hill of copper. He had broad shoulders and a slender waist. His face shone like the full moon, and behind his thin lips, Bhima could see sharp pearl-white teeth. Seeing him obstructing his path like a hill, Bhima roared at him. The monkey, however, did not seem impressed. He slowly opened his reddish eyes and looked lazily at Bhima. "Why have you awakened me? I am ill, and I deserve your kindness. Indeed, as a human, you should know the codes of religion. Thus you should show kindness to all lower creatures. O hero, it seems you do not know what is virtue, because you have come here forcefully. You have destroyed animals on your way. Who are you? Where are you going? Don't you know that you cannot proceed any further? This path leads to heaven, and human beings cannot access it. Only those who are successful in ascetic practices can go to the celestial regions. Therefore, give up your quest. Turn back. Otherwise, rest here for a while and partake of the sweet fruits and cool water. O foremost of men, do not try to force your way past, and thus wind up dying for nothing." Intrigued, Bhima responded politely. "Who are you, O respectable one? Why are you in this form of a monkey? I myself belong to the royal order. I am a descendant of Kuru and the son of King Pandu. I was born in the lunar dynasty from the union of Kunti and Vayu. My name is Bhima." I am simply a monkey, but I shall not allow you to pass. Turn back now. Do not meet with destruction." Bhima felt his anger rising. Who was this ape? "Oh, monkey, I did not ask that you give me permission, nor am I interested to hear your thoughts about my destruction. Stand aside. Do not experience grief at my hands." The monkey, still speaking in a lazy voice, said, "I am ill. I cannot move. If you must pass over me, then step over this body of mine." Bhima shook his head. "How can I step over you when I know that the all-pervading Supersoul, the Lord of all, Krishna, resides in your heart, as he does in the hearts of every being? I cannot disregard him." Bhima looked closely at the monkey, and he remembered the great Hanuman, Lord Ram's devoted servant. Could this be him? But that monkey had lived in a past long ago. How could Hanuman still be alive? That would mean he was now almost 1,000,000 years old. No, it was impossible. Bhima continued. "Had I not been aware of the Supersoul, I would have leapt over you as well as the entire mountain, even as the great Hanuman leapt across the ocean." The monkey turned toward Bhima and opened his eyes wide. "Who is this Hanuman who leapt over the ocean? Tell me if you can." Bhima said, "He was my brother, begotten by the wind god and endowed with intelligence and strength. He was the best of monkeys, and he is celebrated forever in the scripture Ramayana. For the sake of Ram's wife Sita, Hanuman leapt 100 yojanas over the sea to Lanka. I am equal to him in strength and prowess. I am thus able to chastise you. Arise, O monkey, and give way. Otherwise I shall send you to Yamaraja's abode." The monkey remained calm. "I have grown old and cannot move. Please move my tail and make your way past." Bhima moved toward the monkey. This was surely not Hanuman, for Hanuman's power was limitless. This monkey was simply some insolent and powerless being who deserved to be punished for obstructing his path and refusing to move. Perhaps this monkey was even a Rakshasa, assuming a disguise and waiting for a chance to attack. Bhima decided to take him by the tail and whirl him around until he died. The Pandava bent over and carelessly took hold of the monkey's tail with his left hand. To his surprise, he found that he could not budge the tail at all. Now placing both hands firmly around the monkey's tail, Bhima pulled harder, but still it could not be moved. Bhima then struggled with all his strength. His face was contracted. He was covered with perspiration, and his eyes rolled. Despite all his efforts, however, Bhima could not shift the tail 1 inch. The Pandava realized this was not an ordinary monkey or even a demon as he had supposed. Bowing his head in shame, he stood before the creature with joined palms and said, "Forgive me, sir, my harsh words. Are you a Siddha, a Gandharva? Are you a demigod? I am curious. Who are you in the shape of a monkey? I seek your refuge and ask you in the mood of a disciple. If it is no secret, then be pleased to tell me." The monkey then sat up. "O chastiser of enemies, as you are curious, I shall tell you. Know me to be the son of that life of the universe, Vayu, born in the womb of Keshari. I am the monkey named Hanuman, whom you mentioned earlier." As Bhima listened in amazement, Hanuman told him in brief the famous history of the Ramayana, which the Pandava already well knew. When Hanuman finished speaking, tears fell from Bhima's eyes, and he fell to the ground to offer obeisances. Rising up again, he spoke joyfully to the monkey chief. "No one is more fortunate than me, for I have seen my famous and powerful brother. O great one, I have only one desire. Please show me the form with which you jumped over the ocean. I shall then have full faith in your words." Hanuman then replied, "That form cannot be seen by you or anyone else. When I crossed over the ocean, things were quite different than what they are now. It was a different age and everything was greater. Now that Kali Yuga is about to begin, all things have diminished. I can no longer display that gigantic form, because every being, everything must obey the dictates of time. And I am no exception. Therefore, please do not ask me to reveal that form." Hearing Hanuman speak, Bhima became curious to learn more from his ancient brother. "Please tell me, O Hanuman, what are the different manners and customs of each age? You have been alive almost since the first age. How have people pursued religion, economic development, pleasure, and liberation in each of the yugas?" Hanuman began with the Satya Yuga. At that time, every living being was self-realized and devoted to the Supreme Lord's service. But with the onset of each successive age, however, everything diminished and became more degraded. Virtue, which was fully manifest in the first age, was diminished by a quarter in each successive age. By now, Hanuman explained, virtue and religion were 3/4 lost. By the end of Kali Yuga, it will have disappeared entirely. Hanuman then concluded, "As the ages progress and virtue diminishes, so the nature and abilities of men undergo diminishment. Everything thus becomes inauspicious. Why, even the performance of religious acts in the last age produces contrary results. How then can I show you the form with which I crossed over that great ocean? And even if I could, why should a wise man such as yourself ask to see something so unnecessary?" Bhima was insistent, however. he sensed that Hanuman was able to show his most powerful form despite his reluctance. The Pandava greatly desired to see it, and he declared that he would not leave until he was satisfied. At last the monkey chief relented. Telling Bhima to stand back, Hanuman rose up from his resting place and expanded his body to massive proportions. He covered all sides and towered above Bhima, looking like a second Vindhya mountain. In a voice which resounded through the forest, he spoke to the awestruck Pandava. "O Bhima, this is the extent to which you are able to see my form. I could go on expanding myself almost without limit. My size and power increase amid foes according to their strength. Ram's devoted servants can never be overcome by any enemy." Bhima felt his hair standing erect. Dropping to his knees, Bhima said, "O Lord, O greatly mighty one, I have seen your form to my satisfaction. You resemble the Mainaka mountain, as you are able to show such power. How was it that Ram had to exert himself to fight with Ravan? Why, with you by his side, what need was there for him to do battle with the Rakshasas? It seems to me that you could have immediately and single-handedly crushed Lanka with all of its warriors, elephants, and chariots." Hanuman then returned to his normal size and replied solemnly, "O mighty armed descendant of Bharat, it is exactly as you say. That wretch Ravan was no match for me. But if I had slain him, then the glory of Dasharat's son would have been obscured. By killing the king of the demons and rescuing Sita, my Lord Ram has established his fame and glory among men." Hanuman then told Bhima to go back to his brothers. Bhima explained that he first had to find the source of the 1,000-petaled lotuses, and Hanuman showed him the way to the forest where they grew. This is the path which leads to the wonderfully beautiful region. It is known as Alaka, in the forest known as Saundika. It means full of fragrance. The forest is known as Saugandhika because of its abundance of lotus flowers. And there you will see Kubera's gardens, which are guarded by the Yakshas and Rakshasas. They lie there in a great lake. There are where the flowers that you seek for your wife." Hanuman came forward and embraced Bhima with affection. He briefly instructed him in the science of kinship and then said, "O Bhima, having once again come in contact with a human, I have felt in my mind the presence of my Lord Ram, who is Lord Vishnu incarnate. Lord Ram blazes like the sun is to the lotus. Therefore, I wish to give you a boon. Ask of me whatever you desire. If you wish, I shall go to Hastinapur and kill Dhritarashtra's insignificant sons and grind their city to powder. Or if you like, I can bind Duryodhan and bring him here. Tell me, what can I do for you?" Bhima replied that he felt assured of success if Hanuman would simply lend his support and blessings. Why, just his presence on the battlefield would guarantee victory. Hanuman replied, "When you rush forward for the fight, sending forth lion-like roars, I will add my roars to yours. Remaining on the flagstaff of Arjuna's chariot, I will strike fear into the hearts of your foes by my terrific yells. After embracing his brother one more time, Hanuman told him to depart for Sangadika. Seeing the sparkle in Bhima's impetuous eyes, as Bhima made ready to leave, Hanuman held him by the arms and said, "My child, do not take the flowers by force. The celestials should always be respected. In this way, they will bestow their blessings upon you. As a Kshatriya, you should perform your duty to protect other living beings. You should do so humbly and keep your passions under control. Go now in peace. I bid you farewell." Thus ends the narration of the Mahabharat, chapter 27, part 2. Hanuman meets Bhima. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mahabharat, chapter 27, part 3. Bhima defeats the Krodhavashas. Hanuman disappeared, and Bhima headed toward Saugandika. As he walked, Bhima reflected on the majestic form Hanuman had just shown him. Who could imagine such a sight, either on heaven or on earth? Bhima also remembered Lord Ram's glories and the great battle he had fought for Sita with the help of Hanuman. Millions of Rakshasas had been slain. Bhima knew well a similar fight awaited the Pandava brothers. Again, the all-powerful Lord, the original Supreme Person, would take part in the fight. The world would then be rid of all unwanted elements. Duryodhana and his brothers were no better than the sinful Rakshasas, which Krishna had destroyed in his form as Lord Ram. How could those demons rule the world? Surely it was the Lord's desire that they all be annihilated. Soon, Bhima's mind again drifted to his surroundings. He was moving swiftly again, but the beauty of the woodlands, groves, orchards, lakes, and rivers was not lost on him. Still, the cool breeze carried that captivating fragrance from the blossoming trees. Herds of wild elephants roved about like masses of clouds, while buffaloes, bears, leopards, and deer moved here and there. Bhima pressed on. Just after midday, he at last arrived in the Saugandaka region. There he saw the lake filled with fresh golden lotuses, exactly like the one that had blown to Draupadi's feet. Swans swam upon the lake, and other water birds mingled with them, all making delightful sounds. The lake seemed to be fed by mountain springs that fell in it in cascades that sparkled in the sun. A canopy of green and golden trees, which swayed gently in the breeze, provided shade along the sandy lake shore. Heaps of precious stones lay here and there. Along with the 1,000-petaled lotuses, other charming flowers of a dark blue hue grew on stalks made of Vaidurya gems. Bhima's mind was stolen by their beauty. But the thousands of Yaksha and Rakshasa guards that Kuvera had deployed to protect his lake all noticed Bhima's arrival. They moved toward them, and their leader shouted, "Who are you, O effulgent one? Why have you come here clad in deerskin, yet bearing weapons? We are the Kodavasas. We are the guardians of this lake." "I am Bhimasena, the son of Pandu. I have come here with my elder brother Dhamaraj to Badarik Ashram. There too is my dear wife Draupadi. The breeze brought her an excellent Saugandhika lotus, and so she asked me to bring her more. O night rangers, I have thus come here in order to satisfy that lady of faultless features, for her wish is always my command." The Rakshasa placed his spear on the ground and replied, "O foremost of men, this place is Kuvera's favorite playground. Humans may not sport here, nor may they take away flowers or fruits. Only celestials are permitted to use this lake. Others who try, disregarding the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera, certainly meet with destruction. As you desire to take away the lotus flowers belonging to Kuvera without his permission, how can you say that you are Dharmaraja's brother? Do not perform an irreligious act. First, ask Kuvera's permission, and then you may enter the lake." Bhima did not care for the warning. He had little regard for Rakshasas, and was certainly not going to be told what to do by them. Completely forgetting Hanuman's admonishment, Bhima placed his hand on his mace and boomed out, "All Rakshasas, I do not see illustrious Kuvera here. And even if I did, I would not pray for these flowers. It is not the duty of Kshatriyas to beg. In any event, this lake has sprung up on the mountain breast and belongs to everyone. Kuvera did not make it, nor did he create the lotuses. Why then should I ask his permission?" Having said this, Bhima plunged into the lake and began to gather lotuses. The Grodavashas advanced, shouting at him to desist. But Bhima ignored them. As far as he was concerned, the lotuses were the property of their creator, God himself, not any lesser demigod or celestial. Bhima felt he had as much right to them as Kuvera did. The Pandava knew that Draupadi would first offer them to Lord Krishna before giving them to anyone else. Seeing Bhima taking the flowers, despite their warnings, the guards charged at him. "Seize him! Cut him up! Bind him!" The Rakshasas entered the shallow waters, and Bhima stood to receive them. Taking hold of his mace, inlaid with gold and resembling the mace that Yamaraj carries, Bhima shouted back, "Stand! Fight!" The guards then surrounded Bhima. Bhima whirled his mace and met the advancing Rakshasas with blows. Heroic and courageous, Vayu's son was devoted to virtue and truth, and thus was incapable of being vanquished by any enemy through prowess. He killed the Krodavashas by the hundreds, beginning with the foremost among them. Many of them fell into the water, their arms and legs broken. Bhima was a furious whirlwind now. The Rakshasas could hardly look at him as he fought. They began to flee in fear, taking to the skies. Seeing the guards retreating, Bhima lowered his mace and then continued to gather lotus flowers. He drank the lake's clear water, which tasted like celestial nectar and which restored his energy and strength. As he picked the lotuses, mentally he presented them to Draupadi. The Krodavashas ran back in terror to Kuvera and told him what had happened. The demigod only smiled and said, "Let Bhima take as many lotuses as he likes for Draupadi, for I already knew he would be coming." Hearing their master's words, the guards returned to the lake and saw Bhima sporting alone by himself in its waters, with a number of lotuses lying near him on the bank. They watched him in silence, keeping a safe distance. Thus ends the narration of Mahabharat chapter 27. Bhima defeats the Krodavashas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna is God, Hare Krishna, Krishna